rest, but the leaders turn their way then down into Brundle and Nelson for the first time, under the bridge, being headed there by the poleman, George Torecki. Time. You can see a big lead then for George Torecki with loads all fighting behind. You've got 4 trucks nose to tail as they turn their way onto Murray for the first time. A few of them clipping the grass. There's one that locks up and just about gets their truck slowed down, but it is indeed the poleman then, George Torecki, that leads after 1 lap. Second place, Paul Tompkins has held on to it. Up to third has come Daniel Petters, the driver that was quickest in qualifying yesterday. There's damage. That was what the smoke, a lot of the smoke was all about for 65, which is the truck of Mark Willis. So Mark Willis has damage and is pluming smoke with a tyre rubbing against the bodywork.
Yeah.
So it is
I was going to say, originally I thought,
Tompkins,
oh God, what's happened to his engine? And then the smell of that burning rubber, I was like, oh no, yeah, it does. And then obviously that one coming round and you could see it had a good old punt up the arse. I was like, yeah, that's probably what's happened.
For Danny Hunt from row 7 on the grid, and into 10th place comes the truck of Dean Tompkins.
I mean, I like the smell of burnt rubber when it's drift cars, but...
Palmer corner into Agostini for the second time, with sort of 2 battle packs going on now, one for second and then another a bit further back. We've got a number of trucks in the pit lane, so there's obviously been some incidents out there on the first lap. Trucks into the pit lane are 71 Simon Ward, 52 which is James Goldstraw, number 7 Roger Dormer, and 82 Paul Jones. So we've got 4 trucks into the pit lane.
That recovery
leading the way, George Torecki by a couple of seconds from Paul Tompkins, who's keeping Daniel Petters at bay at the start of this lap. Behind him there's been a change for 4th position because Dale Gent has got himself ahead of Rhys Jones. Michael Smith's had an incident on that lap. He's dropped way back, so Michael Smith has dropped back, and now Daniel Petters has been involved in second 2. He's dropped up much later. Daniel Petters dropped way behind the driver that's second in the championship, George Torecki, who's got much further back. So that means we're down to 3 trucks in about a second, which is Paul Tompkins ahead of Jones and Gent, I think. So that's how that's ended up. It was because of Michael Smith off in second one, which split us up. We lost them. I think the second late battle, there's not many trucks left, I don't think. But George Torecki leads by now 3 seconds to Paul Tompkins. It's side by side for third, and Dale Gent is going past Rhys Jones on the inside line into Richie's corner, and he makes it stick, I think, to gain the position. In 5th place is Daniel Fisher. 6th is David O'Regan from the back of the grid. So David O'Regan is absolutely flying from the back of the grid. He's set the fastest lap of the race at 2 minutes 08.958. In 7th place is Danny Hunt. In 8th position is Alan Cooper. 9th is the truck of Dean Tompkins, and in 10th position the damaged truck that continues in number 65 Mark Willis. A couple of the stoppers have headed, I think almost all the pit stoppers have headed back out again, but the battle for second place heads its way down towards Agostini with Paul Tompkins now with both Dale Gent and Rhys Jones absolutely back with him after they were having their own individual scrapping into Agostini. Dale Gent goes down the inside and goes through. So Dale Gent, the former Bundesliga racer, has moved into second place here, working his way up from 5th on the grid, so this is good stuff. He's got about 3 or so seconds now to make up on the race leader. Behind him, Paul Tompkins has Rhys Jones looking to the inside into Williams' corner. He can't quite make it, so they stay in that same order, and then going with them now and chasing after them is David O'Regan, who returns to the championship this year, which meant he had to start from the back of the grid for this because this is his first meeting of the year, but he has fought his way into the top 6 and is moving forward all the time with the fastest lap of the race. Early on in this 9-lap race. This is lap 3. Race leader George Torecki turns away on the Forum curve in 2nd place. Dale Gent is pulling away from the back of a 3rd place, where Paul Tompkins is trying to keep Rhys Jones at Bay, and the flying David Regan now is involved in all of that. So how far can he proceed from the back of the grid? It could be a podium. It's very much on here for him as the race leader crosses the line. George Turicki in second place is Dale Jones. In third position is still Paul Tompkins, but it's side by side behind him because David O'Regan is going around the outside of Rhys Jones and diving to the inside of both of them is Daniel Fisher, and it gets very tight into Richie, but it's the outside line that works, and right round the outside goes David O'Regan, grabbed fourth place. He went round the outside of Rhys Jones. Daniel Fisher was trying to buy into it on the inside line. He backed out of it in the end. Fastest lap of the race again goes to David O'Regan despite passing other competitors. He's done a 2 minutes 08.4 now, which is a second quicker than the race leaders are going. He's 5 seconds behind. He's just got Paul Tompkins to pass now to get himself onto the podium. They turn their way, they're past the spectator banks. I see a number of you on there at Palmer Corner. Hopefully you're enjoying all the racing, and it's pretty frantic stuff here in the Pickup Truck Racing Championship. It might not be for the leader, George Turicki, who's away from all of this, but David O'Regan, he's had an absolute race to enjoy from the back of the grid into the top 5 now, and into fourth position, in fact, chasing after the third place man Paul Tompkins. Down to Hamilton they turn, and down into Oggie's corner. Dale Jensen is just in front of the pair of them, then just behind them is Daniel Fisher and Alan Cooper. So the race continues then. This is lap 4 of the 9. And into the pit on this particular lap has come Richard Ayling. So Richard Ayling is into the pit lane. So there's 16 trucks that haven't really been affected by a pit stop so far. Which has been a dramatic race for a few of them out there, but it's George Turicki that turns his way into Brundle and Nelson as the race leader, looking for win number 4 for his Pickup Truck Racing campaign. Still hasn't quite got the better of Paul Tompkins. It's not going to take much longer because he's challenging into Coram. He's trying to go right around the car of the truck of Paul Tompkins. Has he made it work? He has. He went up the inside into Coram. So that's a great place to make a move, but he's got it done. So O'Regan is up to third now, the fastest man in the race. Meanwhile, the leader, George Turicki, completes 4 laps. And his lead margin is coming down to Dale Gent to 3.3 seconds because the second place man has just done the fastest lap of the race. Dale Gent in 2 minutes 8.380, which was 8 tenths of a second quicker than the leader on that lap. He's a couple of seconds clear of the new third place man, David O'Regan. In 4th is Paul Tompkins, 5th is Rhys Jones, 6th is Alan Cooper. In 7th place is the truck of Dean Tompkins, and now up to 8th, pushing on, was an early spinner, which is Daniel Petters, the quickest driver in qualifying yesterday. He's up to 8th now. He's got a few seconds to make up to catch the next group of trucks, but he's passed a number of drivers on that last lap. Daniel Fisher's dropped down the order, so he must have been involved in some kind of incident, so he's dropped back into 13th. So there's lots of movement in the middle of the pack. But eyes to this lead gap with 5 laps to go. Can Dale Gent and David O'Regan catch the leader, George Turicki? He turns his way down towards Oggie then on this 5th lap, halfway through the motor race now. And the gap came down by 3 tenths of a second just in the first third of the lap, just in the first sector. The quickest anybody through sector 1 was Rhys Jones, who was sitting in the slipstream of Paul Tompkins. And that might be the next driver that gets the better of Paul Tompkins, who's running there in 4th place, but he has lost a couple of positions over the last 2 laps. So leaders down under the vehicle bridge, and through the middle sector it's David O'Regan that is behind. He's already back on turn already with Dale Gent. Back 2 seconds at the start of the lap. It's much less than that now. The cars come back, and the trucks come back in towards Coram and down towards Murray. If you want the final corner, you can see the leaders turning towards you now with the big lead for George Turicki, about 3 seconds from now. A battle that is starting to emerge for second place between Dale Gent and returning racer David O'Regan. He turns his way out of Murray's corner. He's trying to get himself into the tow, into the slipstream of the truck in front of him. And he sets the fastest lap, an mighty lap from David O'Regan, a 2 minutes 6.811. That's a second and a half faster than anybody else has got all race long. So David O'Regan on his return here is lapping so much quicker than anybody else, particularly those around him. So he's chasing after Dale Gent. Surely he's going to get past as soon as he